Okay. So, do we have the door propped open? Maddie, can you like put the wedge in there just in case people are coming in? Okay. So, a couple things. Spring semester kids. I have not had time to. We haven't started reviewing in class, but I wanted to show you where you can get resources. Those are you that are in Schoology. So right now, kids. So under course content, you will see a review for AP Eco. So we start making a review book after the test that we're taking right now. And these are like, we'll do this together, but if you miss a day, that's where that is. But after school stuff, I made a little folder for you. So our very first session was this handout. So that's the handout. That's the key of the handout. And I will be posting the video, but I already sent it in Remind. But like the keys for this, if you miss a day or like you didn't miss or you missed the first time and you like have the packet but you don't know what the keys are here. Fall semester kids, I have, what am I doing? I have a Google Drive that I'm going to share with you where I will dump stuff in. So you'll getting like the key for those things there since I can't share with you Schoology. And I also have all of my slides from class, so that way you still have access to it. So I'll be sharing this link with you via Remind later today. So if you I think Remind, because you can click on it on your phone. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll be sharing a link through Remind. That's for this. That's for my fall semester kids. My spring semester things are in Schoology. All right. Any questions about where to find reviews and where to find material? Okay. You know that they're we pay the district pays for, is it Learning Express? Where you get I think it's 2 free AP tests that you can practice online, and there's one you can get it timed, you can set the settings to timed, or you can set it to untimed and work through it. I'll put the slides of how to access that in here, and I'll also post it on Schoology, but I'll show you what it looks like. So when you know what you're looking at, you know what you're looking at. So I posted it for Psych already, but not for you guys. So your other AP teachers might have shown this to you. It looks like this. It's a slideshow of how to log in to. You've never seen this, but we pay a lot of money for this. So this was brought to you by the library. The library set this up, so it'll tell you where to go and how to log in, and you get every AP course. I think it has 2 AP practice tests in it. So I'll post this in Schoology or in that Google Drive for you, either if you're in the spring or fall semester. Okay, so let's get started. Do you want to dive into an FRQ or do you want to work on multiple choice? Okay, that was. All right, so a couple pages in. It starts off with a number 2 right here in the corner. Let's not make sure that where there's no fake names. Are there fake names on there? Not Seymour Butts and Bend Over or anything like that. Okay, that's going to the district. That's going to central office. So if you could just not make me look like a fool, I'd appreciate it. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions on here. I'm going to give you 6 minutes. You may work with a friend or you may work by yourself, but if you'd like to get your notes out to refresh, you may do that.
Enjoy.
Maybe pencil. Maybe pencil, especially you fall semester kids. Maybe a pencil. Yeah, I know that, Alexa, even on FRQs. Inflation is the percent that prices go up every year.
This means nothing to me. Oh wait, there. Making this cabinet nothing. And then we're gonna try to find out quantity of your things. So much.
Sounds like it's cancer of sounds. We're just working on this.
Okay, we're trying to have the price of the base. Well, you're taking years to
Yeah, but
if you did not,
if you multiply this person by this profit,
yeah, I'm gonna have 100% sure. You put X.
Yeah, that yeah, it's however long it goes. Yeah.
5. 5 minutes.
Hey, give you about a minute and a half left. A minute and a half to do that front page. I need to put challenge over here. Full on meal. No, at least they're part of my dad. I'm just jealous. Okay, so the
I'm gonna buy one.
No, that's your one.
I don't know, I'll figure it out.
Oh, so this one is going
I remember like clearly when you told us that you like couldn't like how you like some humming hair. Now I do that too. I think I was so viral,
All right. Seems like most of us are finishing up. So let's go over. And I tried to like leave some space around so we can take notes and like add to it. So we're not just answering the questions, but we're looking at like why wrong answers are wrong, why right answers are right, and then like tangent. All right. Yay, I can write on the board today. All right, so if we're talking about unanticipated inflation, we have surprise inflation. And remember, when there's surprise inflation, when there's unanticipated inflation, why? Help.
What if you freeze?
It's writing now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Undo button.
Okay, when there's unanticipated inflation, that means your purchasing power has gone down. So every time that there's unanticipated inflation, your purchasing power has gone down. So some people are hurt and some people are helped by that. So let's make a little T-chart for hurt and helped. All right, so the money is worthless. That's when the purchasing power goes down. So it is worth less. The money is worthless. So that's fantastic. If I have to pay something that is worthless, that's like paying monopoly money. That doesn't bother me at all. So I am helped if I am having to pay because I'm paying money that's worthless. But if I'm being paid money that is worthless, that sucks because the money you're giving me is monopoly money. So 4 of these people are wait, we're looking for gains. Yeah, 4 of these people are paid money that is worthless, while 1 person is paying money that is worthless, and we're looking for someone who's paying. So landlords are paid rent, and so they are hurt, and we're looking for a gain here. Individuals who have fixed retirement incomes, they're being paid their retirement. They're being paid income. The first one's being paid rent. The second one's being paid income. We're looking for someone who is paying, not being paid. Individuals who earn high incomes, they are earning a high income. So they are being paid income. Once again, we're looking for someone who is having to pay, not being paid. Individuals who have borrowed money at a fixed rate interest have to now pay the loan. And if they pay the loan back, the money that they are paying is worthless, which is why D is correct. And also E, that bank is being paid their money back. They're being paid back the loan. So 4 of these are being paid. Only 1 of them is having to pay. And so the individuals who have borrowed money at a fixed rate of interest are paying a loan back that is essentially worthless, so they don't mind at all. Questions on that? Okay. Keep in mind, if this question had said unanticipated deflation, then everything I just said is the opposite. So like, who is hurt this time? Paying. Who was helped? Anyone that's paid. Because then your purchasing power is higher. So if it's deflation, then everything is the opposite. So just keep in mind, purchasing power is the opposite of inflation. When inflation goes up, purchasing power goes down. Those are always inverses of each other. P.S. Inverses also means negatively related. Just saying. All right. Question 29, I guess. Question 29. Which of the following will lead to an increase in GDP? Well, why don't we just write out that GDP equation? Someone from the fall, tell me the GDP equation. C plus I. Wow, that was really confident. Okay, GDP is consumer spending plus investment spending plus government spending plus net exports. Well, net exports is exports minus imports. SIGXN.
So what's the C?
Consumers.
Investment spending.
Take a lap. Take a lap. C is consumer spending. That is people buying things. I is investment spending. That's businesses spending money, probably on like capital, which is pizza ovens. G is government spending, and then XN stands for net exports, and net exports is a little math question inside a math question because it's exports minus imports. Exports minus imports. Oh God, okay. I thought you were just writing it on a whiteboard. No, you're using that as a.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I
All right.
asked whose fire that was because I was going to use that. For the
Oh,
next
got it.
slide.
Okay.
I'm not stupid.
Well, no, I'm not. I just didn't think you were stupid.
I know you were thinking.
What do we call A? If I prepare my own tax, I'm for doing a service, am I going to pay myself for doing that service?
Yes.
It's kind of like babysitting. What? Non-market activity. Okay. Citizens begin working abroad. They're not even in the country. Not in borders. The government prohibits the sale of alcoholic beverages. Well, that's just like
Decrease in consumption.
Why would they do that?
do you know your history? That's just, yeah, that would be decreasing consumer spending. Foreign companies build new assembly plants in the United States is the correct answer. That is, what is that? It's investment spending. Okay. 1 million households sell their used cars. Used cars don't count. So used products do not count. Do not count. They count the year that it was produced. It doesn't matter when things are sold. It matters when it's produced. So something is produced this year, whether it sells or not, is part of GDP. Any questions on those two? All right, moving on. All right. Anyone can tell me which equation we are using? The Fisher equation, which is real percent. This does not work with dollars. You can't just subtract 2% from $1 billion and think it's whatever that would be. So real is equal, real percent. And remember, this works with wages, real wages. It works with interest rates, real and nominal interest rates. It also works with GDP, real and nominal GDP. Anything that's in percent form, this equation works for. So it's real is equal to nominal percent of the same thing. You can't be mixing up wages and GDP or wages and interest rates or whatever. It's got to be wages, wages, or GDP. So nominal minus expected inflation, and that's also in percent form.
Triple.
Yes. So nominal interest rate is 10, so we're just literally plugging it in. 10, the expected rate of inflation is 5%. 10 minus 5 is 5, so it is C. I mean, imagine. All right. And then you get to this question. Honestly, this is the only question that I've ever seen in my however many years of teaching where it was asking about this term. And people a couple years ago, this was on their final exam and they lost their minds. So the term value added. So there are 3 ways to measure GDP. There's this C plus I plus G plus XN. There's the income approach. RWIP. Rent plus wages plus interest payments plus profit. That's, we're going to see that a little bit in just a second. And on the FRQ that we're going to do. But there's also the value added approach. This is basically, remember how we say we don't add inputs together, we don't add resources when counting GDP? Value added does. So it's like the price of it, like, so you send denim to, like, I don't know, a jeans company. And so the jeans company adds a little bit of value to the denim to make them into like pants. And then they send those pants to like the zipper company. And it's like the value added to the pair of pants is like added on to the price of the jeans. And that's how you get to the price of jeans, is like the value added at each stage of production. It's just the definition. It is the cost of inputs. It's actually adding inputs together. This is the only time where inputs are calculated towards GDP. Okay. Yeah.
What's the difference between like what he's saying and like what he's saying? Because if you're taking your sales minus your cost, isn't that totally what profit is?
No, this is profits minus sales on E.
Yes.
Like,
That is like, that doesn't add up to, okay, so if you take your sales minus cost, then you get your profit. But profit minus sales, that doesn't get you, like doesn't get you anything. That's like, it's not an equation.
okay.
It's like take GDP and you subtract your CPI from it. It's like that's not a thing. Yeah, that's not a thing.
So when you add pepperoni to pizza, is that value added? Or is that
But if you don't count the pizza at the end, if we count the cheese and then we also count the, if we count like the pepperonis and we count like everything else, that would be at the end of the day, that's going to be the price of the pizza. But we're not going to calculate the cost of the pizza on top of that because we've already calculated the inputs, which will equal the cost of the pizza. So it's just that. Keyword is going to be inputs on that. You won't ever see. Chances are you're never going to see that problem again. Okay. Of course I say that, and it'll be an entire effort here. All right. Scroll. Okay. Then we have this problem. Fun. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of notes here. Scott, how about we not write on the walls? You're right. It is my fault that a full-grown man is going to write on the walls, and that's my fault because I put him next to the walls. All right, so. All right, so if we're asking for nominal of year 2, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be calculating the prices of year 2 times the quantities of year 2. So I'm just giving you equations. So like if you're asking for nominal of year whatever, year 2000, then it's the prices of year 2000 times the quantities. It's just how much money was made in that year. And so in this case, it's going to be like $2 times 80 plus $2 times 60, and that's going to get you $2.80. Which gets rid of A and B and also gets rid of E. Because nominal is just how much money was made that year. But if we're talking about real, the equation for real, so let's say real of year 2 is going to be equal to still the quantities of year 2. But this time times the prices of the base year, which happens to be year 1 because there's only one other year, and also says year 1 is the base year. But the prices of base year, which happens to be year 1. But I'm going to just say generic base year because that applies to every question. So this would be the, I'll change colors here. This is going to be the prices of year 1 times the quantities of year 2. So it's going to be 1 times 80 plus 2 times 60, and that is going to be equal to $200, which makes C our answer choice. So you take the quantities of whatever year you're talking about, but times the prices. It's basically saying, hey, what if prices didn't change from last year? Now calculate. I mean, that's what literally real is adjusting for inflation. The way you adjust for inflation is you don't allow inflation to happen. prices going up is inflation. So it's like, what if we didn't have prices go up? Let's go from like the prices of last time, and then just look at the growth of quantity that we sold. Okay, any questions on this whole page? All right. Oh, really quick, I wrote myself a note and I didn't even look at it. Going back up. Oh, I really hope that you were fast about that. Oh well. If you have any room here, I want to talk about what GDP does not include. Okay, GDP does not include the black market. That would be illegal things. Non-market activities. Yes, that would be like babysitting or like a stay-at-home parent. They're providing a service, but they're not being paid. We don't count used products. Or it doesn't have to be used, but maybe it was made last year or like produced in a different year. That doesn't count. We don't count inputs, or we call those unfinished goods.
Like what?
Okay, so we only count it when it was when it reaches the final stop for that thing. So the final stop for a pizza is when I buy it. Not when Papa John's buys all the resources, but when I buy the pizza, that's when we count the pizza. But like there are some inputs that are totally counted, like capital. The pizza oven is an input. That's capital. That's a resource used to make the pizza. But the final stop for that pizza oven is not me. The final stop for the pizza oven is when Papa John's buys it. So whenever it gets to the final stop, the finished good, that's when that purchase. So like if I buy lumber at Lowe's, that lumber counts. When I buy it for Lowe's. But if XYZ homemaker, like home builder, buys lumber to build a house, that lumber is not counted until I buy the house, because the lumber wasn't the final stop there. The house is the final stop when I buy it.
Materials to make it something.
Yes, but I can go buy lumber and that will count, but not when the home builder buys it, because it's not done yet. Yeah. All right, let's turn to the next page. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Once again, I'll give you 6 minutes.
So what happened was I just have a question to ask. That's it. Oh. That's what this model is. I told her that I would ask. She's like, that's so unprofessional. Anyways,
Focus. All of it? Inventory does. it was still produced last year, or produced that year. No, if it sells next year, it can't be counted in. Well, then it's not inventory.
No.
Sophia, yeah, but then all my initials are on my
No, that means that your job has a season.
Like it was 3 and see the inflation stages.
That is what season is. Oh, you're talking about your
In order to
frictional is when your job has friction.
No.
When it's stuck. So when you're there,
That was like make those are unemployment. They are not there at all.
what about frictional? Is it when like you're stuck in your job, so you're on a job for a while?
It's frictional unemployment. That's the type of
Oh, so you're
unemployment.
stuck not having a job.
No, none of what you're saying is right. Everything you said is wrong. I look at your notes. I talk to a friend. Talk with a different friend.
In between the pigs. So let's say that.
About 1 more minute.
Yeah,
I will be nervous. Yeah, that way. All right, let's go over this page.
Are they gonna?
Okay, attention. There we go. All right, using 2010 as the base year, the GDP for the deflator in 2011 was 97, which the following must be true. So in the base year, what would the GDP deflator would have been? 100. So, let me scroll really quick. So in the base year CPI/GDP deflator is going to be 100. So, in the base year, the GDP deflator equals 100. Oh, P.S. Let's actually say what the GDP deflator equation is, John. Okay, the GDP deflator equation is equal to No, not using CPI, not using real or nominal, but using
Market-based. Where's it the no?
oh, I'm thinking of CPI, aren't I? Yeah, I am.
Isn't it?
Okay, then yeah, let's do real/nominal. Nominal GDP divided by real GDP times 100. And the reason that the GDP deflator is going to be 100 in the base year, because that year did not, that year that you're talking about, if you're saying this year is the base year, this year does not have inflation compared to this year. Like the prices of this year are the prices of this year. And so these two numbers are going to be the same number. So let's say if it's like 600 billion divided by 600 billion times 100, it's going to be 100. And so if it was 100 in 2010, but the very next year in 2011 is 97, we could figure out the inflation percent. Which equation would be the inflation percent equation? No. New minus old over old times 100. So you can do this with CPIs for GDP deflators. New CPI minus old CPI divided by old CPI times 100. We could do that. If we were to do that, we would figure out that we're going to have a negative number. I'm not going to do it because we're about to solve for inflation in a second, so we don't need to do it twice. Purchasing power, if prices are falling, purchasing power would go up. With inflation, purchasing power goes down, but if prices are falling from like 100 to 97, and those are going down, then if this said increase, purchasing power of the dollar increase, that would have been fine. This does not measure GDP. Base year, like the GDP deflator and the CPI do not measure GDP, they measure inflation. So saying that real output to do anything, no. Like that means there's inflation. If it's positive, negative means there's deflation. Oh, does anyone remember what disinflation means?
It's when you still have inflation but it's going down.
Yeah, like, okay, so there was 5% inflation. Now there's only 2% inflation. So, like, prices are going up, but at a slower rate. That's what disinflation means. Prices are going up, but at slower rate. So there was 7% inflation. Now there's only 2% inflation. Prices are still going up, but not like they used to be. Okay. Number 20. I want to get some feelers of how you guys solve this. This is the Fisher equation. There are no numbers here, but this is the Fisher equation. And so, and how I know this, because it keeps saying real interest rate and nominal interest rate. And you'll never guess what the Fisher equation talks about. And so it's real is equal to nominal minus inflation or expected inflation. Okay, so let's look at A first. It says the higher the inflation rate, the higher this number, the higher the real interest rate. Well, if we're subtracting this number and now we're raising the thing that we are subtracting, it's not going to make our total bigger. It's going to make it smaller because we're subtracting a larger number here. So it's not A. Okay, let's look at B. So if there's no actual or expected inflation, the nominal and the real interest rates are equal. What do we think? Yeah. If this is 0, then these two are going to be equal to each other. It is B. C is saying that if we're experiencing deflation, so we are subtracting a negative number here, so that basically means we're adding a number here, that these two, that this one is going to exceed this one. Well, if we're adding a number here, wouldn't our total be bigger than the nominal number and not smaller like this one's saying? Yeah, no. I'm trying to think. The higher the inflation rate, the lower the nominal one. No, just this going up or down doesn't affect this one. It only is going to affect the result, not this other variable here. And E, nominal interest rate is the difference between real interest rate and the expected rate of inflation. That's not how the formula works. Real is the difference between these two. I mean, that's literally what the equation is saying, not nominal. So this is a Fisher equation on number 20. All right. Let's look at Stephanie. Okay, when Stephanie took out a 1-year fixed rate loan, she expected to pay a real interest rate of 3%. Look how many Fisher equations there are. At the end of the year, the real interest rate had fallen to 2%. Which of the following could have caused the decrease of the real interest rate? Okay, when it says that it's a fixed rate loan, what is not changing?
The interest rate.
Yeah, okay. Which interest rate?
Real.
No.
Nominal.
Okay, so this is real equals nominal minus inflation, or expected inflation. The thing that the bank charges you is the nominal interest rate. They do, like that's the thing that's fixed. Obviously, if inflation is going up or down, that determines who is hurt and who is helped by the inflation. But what they like, this is like that is not fixed. So the idea that there's an increase or a decrease of the interest rate, no, that one's fixed. It's a fixed interest rate. Both of those are fixed. Is there one that we can just completely eliminate? Yeah. There's a decrease in the money supply. No. That's just no. Okay. So actual inflation was greater than the expected inflation rate, or the actual inflation rate was less than the expected inflation rate. Hey, what? What about it? I mean, I guess we could draw it. Okay, so we got nominal interest rates, quantity of money, money supply, money demand. And it says there's a decrease of money supply. Money supply is shifting to the right. I should have drawn my boop. Sorry. Boop, 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 boop. And if money supply is decreasing and going to the left, that is a higher nominal interest rate. I thought you said it can't go up or down. That's so much. Are you angry at this question?
No, just like C is like too much.
Yeah, you haven't taken the mock test yet. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh my god.
Okay. The mock test is amazing. Okay. It brings people together. Friendships are made or broken. Okay.
Oh, the partner one.
The partner one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Attention. Yeah, I'm telling you. Y'all were all good. Okay. So just look what you did. Hello. Hello. Hi. Okay, we're back. All right, so throw numbers in. I mean, you don't have to, but you can. It says that this is fixed. She expected the real to be 3. Oh my gosh, it was 2. And this is fixed. What happened to this number if our answer was smaller than what we thought it was going to be?
It was less.
It was bigger because we're subtracting. So we must have subtracted a bigger number than what we thought it was going to be for our answer to be smaller. And so the one that says that is the actual inflation rate was greater than what they expected it to be because our answer was smaller than what we thought it was going to be. So the inflation monster must have eaten away more. I'm assuming based on y'all's reactions that y'all put E. Oh, sorry, can't help you there. All right. Yes, every word is specifically chosen. It's by College Board. All right. Let's say what? Okay. Number 41. In 1 year, spending on consumption, investment, and government purchases were equal to 103% of a country's GDP. How could that possibly be? Well, let's write it out. C plus I plus D plus xn. Okay, C plus I plus D plus xn is, Duchess, chill, is GDP. It looks like these numbers are 103% of this number. How could that possibly be? Maybe if this other remaining variable is 3% like negative, then you could have GDP being 100% of itself. If net exports are negative, then you are going to, right now, like we have a trade deficit. So that's the case. Okay. All of the other ones are just well, they're just not even relevant to the question. Oh, hey, let's talk about what a balanced budget is really quick. What is a balanced budget? If taxes equal government spending. What's a surplus? Taxes are greater than government spending. Deficit is not there, but it's just the opposite. Taxes are less than government spending. Okay. And last question on the page. All right, let's define them all, shall we? So cyclical unemployment is a recession. It's named after the business cycle because recessions are in fact cyclical. They happen in a cycle, the business cycle. Frictional. Someone tell me frictional. You have the skills. Like all of these are going to be without a job, so just saying unemployment, that's okay. So you have the skills for the job that you are looking for. They have the skills. Seasonal is just the wrong time of the year. If you put search, you have only a brainstem. And structural is you have no skills, or maybe the skills you were replaced with technology. Technology replaced you. So you should go to school and get some sort of training. That way, you should increase your human capital. That way you can move from structural unemployment to frictional unemployment and then into employment. All right. There's only three questions on this page. I'll give you 4 minutes.
I have something I want to show you. It's a graph. And I mentioned it's a graph.
Two plus graphs. That is something.
Channing, when you see it,
Stop
it. What do you mean the woman crazy graph? What do you mean the woman crazy graph? I'm not wrong.
I know what you should do for this type. I know what you should do for
I go with Freddie.
No.
You should go after you're done. Oh yeah. You're free.
This is voluntary, Sophia. You can leave if you'd like. You're hilarious. Economics.
I honestly am glad I actually did learn something today.
Hey, really quick before I forget, because I keep forgetting. I have no idea if a calculator will be given to you the day of the AP test. Spring semester kids know darn well that my calculators are falling apart by the day. They're brand new. And so you need to go to the dollar store and buy yourself a 4-functioning calculator. Do not think that they're going to let you in with a graphing calculator. Just let you know, you have until May 4th to buy a 4-functioning calculator, and you may not borrow any of mine. I don't have enough for 140 of you. Because it's against college board rules. They say no graphing calculator for AP macroeconomics.
Why? It's not like you can grab it.
Okay, I was reading it and then I started yawning. So.
Like
Like,
backwards
You
slide
can
banker.
type H-O. You can type in H-O.
Maybe like the
It's not
Can you do these classes?
It's like a collection of
Oh, it's inflation.
Is she really? Yeah, but then
The lady from Boston.
unemployment equals number of people minus number of people divided by.
I mean, I understand unemployment, that would be divided by.
Oh. So it's saying this is
Divided by 180 minus 80, C, which equals 30. And then on
Yeah. So prices, the average home, right?
All right. That was 4 minutes-ish. Let's look at the table. We've got unemployment. Look at all this space. All this space. Maybe we can write a whole bunch of equations in that space. Maybe the labor force equation. Okay, fine. You do it. You find out what it is, and you. Oh, okay, all right. My son last night was like complaining about dinner, so I handed him a spoon. I said, "You make dinner." So there you go. That really changes. Yeah, he's 10. He can like reach the things. Employed plus unemployed. That's the labor force. But what does it mean to be unemployed? That means that you are over the age of 16. You are without a job, but you are looking. If you are not looking because you are a stay-at-home parent or retired
At
or
16?
a baby or in prison or in military or in a institution, then you are not unemployed. Okay. If you've got the labor force and you got the unemployment number, then you can figure out the unemployment percentage, which is the number of those that are unemployed divided by the number of those in the labor force times 100. There's also the labor force participation rate. The labor force participation rate is the labor force number divided by the number of the population times 100. Okay, but this question is asking for, ooh, I'd be really impressed if anyone knew this, especially fall special kids. Oken's Law.
I know it.
Of course. Kia, Oken's Law.
It's
Okay,
every
you win.
1% inflation rises, GDP goes up by 2.
Are we talking about inflation right now?
Unemployment
rises.
There we go. For every 1% that unemployment rises above the natural rate, GDP goes down by 2% and vice versa. So there is a 1 to 2% ratio between unemployment and GDP. I doubt that's so specific. Okay, so unemployment goes up 1%, GDP goes down 2%. Okay, going back to 46. The unemployment rate for country X, well, we need to know the labor force. The labor force is the employed, 94, plus the unemployed, which is 6, which is a grand total of 100. But to figure out the unemployment rate, it's the unemployed, which is 6, divided by the labor force, which is 100 times 100. Oh my gosh, is that 6%? Yeah, it is. Okay. Keep in mind, all of these questions are pretty simple when it turns to math. Like, you can do it in your head. That's because every year previous to this one, you had to do it in your head. You guys get a calculator. So I don't know if that means that they're going to be nice and continue doing nice numbers. Nice, pretty, like 6 divided by 100 times 100. Or if it's going to be like 3.52 divided by 57. Like, I don't know. So we'll find out together, shall we? We'll find out together. All right. Frictional unemployment. Remember, fictional, you have the skills. Has skills. All right. A former mayor doing volunteer work. Are they even in the labor force? No, not in labor force because they're not looking. Factory worker loses job because of a recession. What type of unemployment is that? Cyclical. College student working part-time. What are they? They're employed. College graduate interviewing for 2 available positions. What are they? Frictional. That's the answer. And last but not least, they're replaced by computer software. That's structural. Oh, by the way, let's talk about a discouraged worker. They have given up looking for a job. They're not in the labor force. And the act of them becoming discouraged makes the unemployment rate actually go down because they're no longer looking. So since they're not in the labor force, unemployment numbers go down. And last multiple choice question before we move on to FRQs is talking about the consumer price index. Remember, consumer price index is a basket, market basket of common everyday items, but does not include everything. So to say that when it goes up from 100 to 200, we can't say that all consumer prices have gone up because unless it was the GDP deflator. GDP deflator measures everything. The CPI only measures a list of things. So it is the market basket price has doubled. Yeah. CPI is only a list of 8,000 things. Not everything. 8,000-ish. Roughly 8,000. Okay. All right. I want to do. Let's just go to the front. Okay. AP test considers this a short FRQ. You have about 12 and a half minutes for a short FRQ. I will give you exactly that. 12 and a half minutes starting now.
Well, it's hard to feel like I just want to leave it like halfway during.
I appreciate it.
Well, it's better now. Or Mark, you don't have so, Steve, so I'm not supposed to. Snappy sticker.
Scott, you can get a desk if you want.
How much is each FRQ?
It's 66.6%, multiple choice 33.333. Hold on one second. Hey.
Check this really quickly because I have to leave right there.
The key is on the front.
It says inflation. I thought that
Okay, Alexa. So this is how it's broken down. So, okay, this is, you're not gonna have 100 questions on the test, but just think of percent. If you get 80% right on the multiple choice, first FRQ is the long FRQ. It's usually about 10 points. But the other two small FRQs are about 5 points. So it's like 66% for the multiple choice. The other FRQs are 33%, but the big FRQ is half of 33%, and then the smaller FRQs are 25% each. No, this is the AP exam. Oh. 10%, 10%. So it's 80, 10, 10.
Each FRQ is 20 points. Yeah. So if you miss like part A, A, B, and C.
It's like 2 points. Yeah. I'm gonna post the key on that Google Drive. Okay, it clearly seems that we're all done. Even though we had a few more minutes left. All right, so this FRQ probably looks familiar to you. We did it at some point together as a class, both years, I think, or both semesters. So for nominal GDP, it's just how much money was made in 2010. So using the quantities 2010 and the price in 2010. So you're basically multiplying them and adding. So 8 times 2.5, 10 times 10, 5 times 5, add those totals together for how much money was made that year, and it should be $145. But real means that you take the quantities of the year you were talking about, which is 2010, which are these quantities right here, 8, 10, and 5. But the prices of whatever they say is the base year. It just happens to be only 1 year, but they also say in the table what the base year is, and it's 2009. So it's the quantities of the year you're discussing, like the year is asking, but the prices of the base year. So then it's 2.5 times 8, plus 6 times 10, plus 4 times 5, and that's going to give you a grand total of $100. Okay. So nominal was 145, but adjusted for inflation, it was 100. If 1 year the price index, which is the CPI, price index is CPI, consumer price index is 50. The next year is 55. What is the rate of inflation? So what equation is this? No. New minus old over old times 100. So the newest one, most recent one, it doesn't have to necessarily be the biggest. Do not assume that the biggest CPI is the newest one. It's whatever's the most recent one, because it could be going down. So it's 55 minus 50, which is the old one, over 50 times 100, and that's going to give you the inflation rate, and 10%. So this is 10% inflation. All right. Assume that next year's wage rate is 3% higher than this year's because of inflationary expectations, but the actual inflation was 4%. So prices are going up 4%, your income went up 3%. Will your real wage be higher, lower, or the same as today? Your real wage is going to be lower because inflation was greater than your wage increase. Because inflation went higher than that of your wage, your real wage actually fell. Yeah.
Do you have to explain like inflation is crazy to get the point?
No, it does not say explain. So just the word lower is fine. Wow, indeed. Okay, question D. Assume that Sarah gets a fixed rate loan. This one you do have to explain. Assume that Sarah gets a fixed rate loan from a bank at when the expected rate of inflation is 3, just like it was before. The actual inflation turns out to be 4. Once again, inflation is higher than what you expected. So you could have explained with math, like you could have actually drawn out the Fisher equation, or you could explain it with like words. And so this is the Fisher equation. Real is nominal minus inflation. And so the expected rate of inflation was 3%. The actual inflation is 4%. And so that means this is fixed. Remember, this is a nominal interest rate that was fixed. And so this is not going to change. So the real number, the real interest actually went down, which means she is paying back less. So you could talk about the purchasing power has gone down. The purchasing power has gone down, or you could actually write this out and like I say, the Sarah pays back less money in terms of real, and therefore she gains. And the question is like, who benefits? Well, Sarah, because she is paying back less money than what she borrowed. because purchasing power has been eaten away. She is having to pay back less, and that's great for her. Sucks for the bank, but good for her. All right. Any questions on this FRQ? Like, would this have been accepted, or would this have been accepted? I'll say, what? Which
I
one?
just have a question about when it says like actual inflation. Is that real?
No, it's just saying the banks are going to set an interest rate what they think inflation is going to eat away because they're whatever's left over is their profit, but they can only set it of what they expect it to be. But if it turns out to be higher than what they expected, it's not going to eat away at your profit. It's going to eat away at the bank's profits because this is what the real is what's left over for the bank, and so they have less at the end of the day. So don't be putting, whenever it says whenever it says inflation, don't be plugging it in anywhere but here. This is the only one that is interest. Inflation. The other ones are interest.
I don't know why I tried using interest rate ratio for price.
I did that too.
That's fine.
Well, how do you do that?
Because this is just her wage. So it says that her real wage her wage is 3%. Her wage will be 3% higher. So like the 3% is actually for here because it's talking like the letter D is talking about inflation and giving you numbers for inflation, and it's asking about the interest rates. But on C, it's telling you that her nominal income is actually going up 3% because they because they expect inflation to be high. But inflation is actually 4%. You could have done that. 3 minus 4. You'd have to make it two separate equations. You could have said like they raised her wage by 3, but inflation went up by 4. 3 minus 4 makes her real wage go down by 1%.
So when it says actual inflation rate, that's
inflation right there.
That's expected.
They are interchange. It's like you set interest and wages and whatever based on what you expect inflation to eat away. But sometimes inflation eats away more than what they expect. So like think of that inflation being like I'm future looking and it's expected inflation, but it's like I can also look back and be like, look what actually happened, and then actual inflation plugs in. If you just want to get rid of the word expected and just have the word inflation in here, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's turn. All right, we're going to switch it up a little bit and do this third one. Let's do the third one next. I'll give you 10 minutes. I'll give you 10 minutes to do this third FRQ, the one with the really big table that says aggregate data at the very top. I will use this opportunity to go potty.
fully compensated.
Yeah, what? I read it. How do I know the difference? So like they give. I don't want to see. That's for sure.
Well, we had an
Urge. I feel like so warm, so that would have a jacket.
Well, they do turn around the rain, so it's actually comfortable.
I was tanning outside because I have early release. So I was tanning in my lanes and then I came here and I was like, so pretty. Empty. Yeah, it's easy. I don't know what okay, so no, it's not no later. Yeah. That's 100.
You better get some.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing you could ever do.
Because I was saying the same thing to you before in that format.
No,
Wow.
yours is the manipulated version. Ours is the
Oh, I didn't see that. Yes.
I was trying to do E. E? Yeah.
It's pretty good at 65. Because you don't count the like, yeah, middle things. I just think it's also easy.
Taylor,
What's up?
I think my knowledge of
What's
GDP.
this phenomenal?
Wait, who asked this?
Value add.
Oh, just how much money they made that year? Not all of it.
Well, yeah.
Would you guys receive that?
I'm saying like is that nominal? That's nominal? Really? I thought that was just GDP though.
Yeah, it is not specified, it's nominal.
Alright, you said it, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Get it wrong.
I love that you are deflecting all responsibility of all of your actions on me. How did I ever do to deserve that?
So I'm the farmer, so you can get
I think I know, but I don't know if it's
A lot of
it's a lot of empty knowledge. So they're gonna equate to.
No, it's the big.
So it says right here, it's like, it doesn't say anything.
Or actually,
Bro,
Chenli.
what it is.
Oh,
Because you sell them.
this is right here. This right here.
Wait, Mom.
Oh wait, never mind. It's just
The
Yeah, like 5 o'clock traffic.
I put because somebody else is like receiving it.
I think that the same, they're both.
It's the same part of the
Yeah, we're doing it. I just wanted to check with you guys.
Really nice lady.
That was,
You think she's still in there?
Because they're paying for
Okay, are we ready to go over this one?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So look at all of the things, all of them. Not all of them matter, but it's allowing for what teachers call differentiation because you can solve this many different ways. So you could solve this using the C plus I plus G plus XN formula. But if you're more all about incomes, then you could have easily solved for the wage plus rent plus interest payments plus profit. And if you had done either of those, you would have gotten to the same answer. How exciting. Because consumer spending is going to be, let me write here. Consumer spending is 1,000. Investment spending is 300. Government spending is 400. XN is already done for you. Sometimes they split it up in exports and imports, and you got to do a little subtraction. But net exports is already negative 100, which means this GDP equation using the expenditure approach is 1,600. If you had done the income approach, wages is at 1,100. Rent is 175. Interest payments is 125, and profit is 200 for a grand total once again of 1,600. Ooh, 1,600. And this is the income approach. Income approach. Look at that. Expenditure approach. Okay. Question B. Explain. Oh, it's like literally in the question. Nice. Explain why the income approach for calculating GDP yields the same values as the expenditure approach for GDP. This is what I put. You can't just say circular flow model. You can't just say that. That would be too simple. I said the money that people spend on goods and services in the product market turns into income made for resources in the factor market. Someone has something different. They're not quite sure if they would count it or not. Arm? Nope.
Both numbers are the sum of the total money in circulation.
No.
I said the RWIC formula is the price of your FOB is what the economy needs to exist.
Okay. What is that? Okay. You started off so strong, and then you're all like, just cuz. Can I see it really quick? No. You need to say.
Finish that statement.
Oh.
What about my wait, could you repeat?
Hold on. No. Okay. The money, like, see how I word it? The money that people spend on goods and services in the expenditure approach turns into income.
If we don't
Expenditures, if we don't finish income for another person,
Yes, you can say that. Say that again, Julian.
expenditures for one person is income for another.
Yeah. The money that you spend turns into someone else's income through the resource market. Good job.
So Maddie has her.
Okay.
What if I said the product market has to equal the money manufactured market? Like they have to equal each other. Like I said, the market one has to equal market two.
Okay. I think the next question would be like, how? Dumb it down.
Okay.
Remember, like the readers are going to pretend the readers don't know what they're talking about, or they don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
How would I have fixed mine?
You read it. You need more words.
Such as.
Such as any of these.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Is the factor market the same as yours?
Factor resource market is the same. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Well, I just didn't want to. It was too many words because I said the services and the product market turned to income made for resources, and I didn't want to say in the resource market because that seems like redundant. So I put resources in the factor market because they're the same. Okay. All right. OMG. It says explain. The next one says explain one difference between the CPI and the GDP deflator. CPI just measures the basket of common everyday items, goods, and services. It does not include everything. It does not include all products produced, only just common everyday items. The GDP deflator does measure all products, but since it's the GDP deflator, it's not going to include any imports. And imported goods could easily make the CPI list because common everyday items could very well be an imported good.
Wait, what's that?
You do not have to say the imports.
Basket of
Sorry.
Goods and services. What? It's on the board.
What is that? Basket of
Goods and services.
does not include but GDP.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take this off the screen because I realize I don't think any of that was recorded. Like not all, just me when I switched it over, that doesn't record. And so I'm going to keep on going. For D, it says using the GDP deflator, calculate real GDP for 2018. Keep in mind, the GDP deflator is given to you in the question. GDP deflator is 160. So, we just like sit still. So it's nominal divided by the GDP deflator
I know it's
times 100 equals real. Okay, nominal is right here. You can use this number or this number. Guess what? It's the same number. And look at that. What a nice GDP deflator they give you. So 1,600 divided by the GDP deflator of 160 times 100 is going to give you a grand total of $1,000 is the real GDP using that GDP deflator equation. Hey, I'm very curious about what we put for E.
I said it would increase by 65.
Explain.
I don't know how.
only the final product.
Only final products are counted. Input prices don't count. Okay.
Intermediate sales.
Maybe if you
What?
Intermediate sales.
Intermediate sales don't count.
Yeah.
So it increases by 65,000. The other numbers there are inputs. Those are intermediate goods, and we do not count that to avoid double counting. 65 million. Connie. Okay. I'm just so tired of yelling at you. I decided to move it to somebody else. Okay. Let's do our last FRQ. 10 minutes. Starting now. Rude.
Absolutely.
Oh, I put C somewhere up here somewhere.
I don't know. I had to say.
Okay.
It's up here.
65,000. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I took a picture of it. I don't know why I just saved it. Yeah, take a picture.
I didn't hear it.
E? Oh, okay.
I don't have any.
65 because only final goods are counted. All of these are steps in the production of it. It's not counted until it gets to the final, like,
Oh, this is the
yeah, the bakery is the final stop for the wheat. And so 65 million, that's when it counts. Because we only count final goods.
Divided by the population.
Nominal GDP times price.
Did you divide the amount by
What add?
You added?
See guys, see the
Then
flavor.
you must have learned it though.
That was low.
Inflation.
Critters.
The baby's at that one. Yeah, right. Did that just say that? Look at that one. Yeah, we just said anybody.
Oh, it's
Real.
Yeah, so it's
just
just nominal.
how fast
later
those
times
$10.
price.
So
With a per capita divided by
that is
Okay, that makes sense.
so it has to have
So
more.
since the flavor is.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
This can if you're in it. Oh, it's just for you too.
I went from having 100 average.
It's just for you.
No, it's China.
One week. Another nominal.
Mena has a small.
Because
Real, like, you can
divided
see
by
how
the GDP later.
Yeah.
Times later.
Are you sure?
Nominal divided by the later.
There's like 2 points. Oh, yeah, wait, you're right. You're right. I need calculates.
No, okay, this side, if you have nominal GDP and price together, it's, no, sorry, if you have real GDP
Divide the number
and
by.
and price together, this side is
You
nominal.
divide the number? Yes.
So it's like.
And would you know?
25 divided by 1.5.
No, I think it was 225 divided by. I think it might be person.
It's per capita, it's for five
No, 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 the
That divided by that.
minus
velocity is just
divided by
Oh, you
absolute
did
dollars
yeah.
spent
Divided
per
by-
year.
Yeah, but one of them has a greater
Duh.
GDP. But the lower per capita.
That's irrelevant.
This minus this
Sure, I
divided
got
by
that
that.
one.
So it's.
Per capita is irrelevant.
How did this all work?
Oh, so you divided by the
calculators.
No, they're on a different part of the question.
That's my stuff.
Wait, that can't be. That can't be right. Wait, no. Yeah, it is. That's the way. That's so much easier.
Okay.
That's the NOO.
I got 20.
Use that, right? Because GDP
Did you
declares.
get 20 for banishment?
Yes,
Thank you, Scott.
I did. It's 20 for Manson.
Let me show you go. Let me show you my first one first.
What's this?
Why do you think you're so slow to turn now?
Because.
What do you mean, Michelle? I don't
I
even
can't figure it out.
Because it goes kind of late.
But like, you don't have to stay the whole time.
Well, people don't.
I think people don't know.
And you shame them for leaving.
And why would you want to be at this?
Dude, I had to go home and then come back, and the urge for me just was so strong.
Can't feel this first name.
It's like your own Holocaust. I don't get
What?
it.
It's not even that bad.
A and C, second letter of the alphabet.
Except the.
They're all green, bro.
No, not yet, bro. Turn into sunset.
Yeah, the set equation is nominal
I
GDP.
got 100
That's okay.
I
At least we. And I don't get.
That boy gave me a 60. I did this stupid thing where I edited it, and he still hasn't given me half the clock back. First of all, I emailed him like 4
It's
times.
exactly what it says.
It was really- Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do
Did
it.
you get a 55 on the quiz?
Ready?
Whoa.
Okay, that was so high.
That's.
Lexi, that was you?
That was her.
That was you.
I left after she went, oh, she screamed.
That was me.
Sorry,
Yes,
that's
don't either.
Don't even lie. I said, bro, you know that.
Me too. And then, yeah, they got a 77 on the last
I'm gonna start emailing parents.
But dude, professionally, like,
It's weird to have to take a kid here.
You're gonna email parents?
This is actually really helpful.
When are you gonna email parents?
Like actually, for all people that like.
Yeah, say your student's gonna fail that.
No, listen,
What?
Alex.
Like, oh, and maybe you should give him a clock since he seems to be running late.
Ricky?
No, not Ricky. Ricky's actually been better.
I love it.
He's got better.
Sometimes I see like running in parking lot. We
You know,
will be on time
I don't know.
today.
You know who Bruno is? I don't think so. He was in DKIM last year, and he had first period, and he was late so many times that Mr. Taylor put his name on the board, and you tally up every single time.
I do remember.
I just thought that was hilarious, because he was never ever on time. He was first period. We were third.
Are we still working or?
I don't know how to do any of these.
Can we just go?
Yes.
No, yeah, Miss Taylor, go over there and give us Taylor.
But I don't wanna like stop your, like, look at Wyatt, he's just going to town on the calculator, he's like,
Wait, how about we like
Why,
do
what,
it together?
or what?
Sacrifice.
he's like typing boobs over.
He's on C. I feel like the time's up already, right?
Yeah, I think it's been like 20 minutes.
I feel like
It has not been 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's not.
this is being proctored and.
Whoa.
I didn't get.
Well, yeah, you're getting paid per hour. So
She's trying to get more money.
Wait, why
How
do
are
you
you
have to,
gonna
wait,
kill
listen, I
40
never signed
I
in.
know that.
It's okay, Scott.
I need to
But
put a
can't you
big
say
name
we
on
were
it.
here till 5 and how they know you're here till
Can't
5?
email his mom. He has assignments.
Yeah, what if you email my mom and I just would be so mad at me.
shorter or long?
I literally told her I was
This
coming
is
here.
short.
Where the hell are you?
The second one?
You get 12.5 minutes.
For this one, this is short. A, B, C, D, E.
You didn't even know.
No F or G or H. Okay, longs are gonna be your graphing two things. There's not a single graph here.
Oh my god, bro. If this is on the test,
tell
I'm
me
just
that
gonna have
tomorrow.
to accept my
Actually, hey. Hello. Okay, just saying, my little, spring semester kids, I would maybe, study for the second half of the test. Just saying.
What's it about?
Monetary policy.
Why do you make the? Oh man.
There's a few people that have taken both halves, and so they're saying that, the second
Guys,
half.
you'll be
is
fine.
harder.
If I got a 96 on it, then y'all are
You got a nice one. On second half.
Did he actually?
Scott was actually good at.
at the end of it. Remember?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
this unit 5 and 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 96 on that test.
yeah. Scott went from the very back of the room to the very front, and I basically was like teaching like this. And yeah.
Wait, was that the one that I came in first period?
Scott, how you think?
Maybe, I don't know.
The one I got
I got a 55 on the quiz, bro.
Oh, let's go.
Wait.
That's what I meant.
Mr. What is this?
That means I probably got like a 26, bro.
You have a choice between
Or lower.
big
It's from 0 to 26.
You have bank balance today. Tomorrow
Oh,
is
look at
Draw the graph, I'm guessing.
maybe
I
money
thought it
market or
was-
reserve market, one of those.
I think you should
Just
make
saying.
it money market.
That's already copied and made. Some people have already done it, so like I'm not gonna about to change it. All right.
He's already good.
All right, here we go. Calculate each of the following for year 2. Real GDP per capita in Banton. So it's year 2. Here's nominal GDP for Banton. So it's nominal GDP, 525, divided by the GDP deflator, which is 105, times 100. And that's going to get you real GDP, but not real GDP per capita, because then you got to divide that by the population. And that number is 500. The population is 25, so divided by 25 is a grand total per capita. I'm actually having to look at my notes. That's awesome. $20 of GDP per capita. While MENA, same scenario, it's nominal GDP divided by the deflator. That's going to get you real GDP. Of course, you got to multiply by 100 though. So 390 divided by this time 130 because we're using MENA's numbers times 100 because that's the equation. That's going to get you 300. They have a different per capita. They have 10 people. That's where my number is going to go. They have 10 people, so that means their GDP per capita is $30. All right, B. All right, the velocity of money. Which equation am I using? MV equals PQ. Okay, so the PQ side is just, so P is price level, Q is real GDP. But if you put price level and real GDP together, you're going to get nominal GDP. So this side is nominal GDP.
That's what this unit actually.
That's literally on the test today.
What is that? No, it wasn't.
Okay, then it'll be on the test tomorrow. It's definitely on the test because I made the question. What is PQ? Nominal GDP. It's on the board.
Price times.
Price times real GDP.
She said it was nominal, but what does it stand for? So I asked.
No, those are like variables.
Oh.
No,
I don't remember.
Price is price level. Q is real GDP. Price level times real GDP is nominal GDP. M is money supply, M1. V is the velocity of money, which is how many times $1 a year is spent. But it's saying in this problem that V is constant. So let's pretend V is not even here. So it's basically M equals nominal GDP, and it's saying who must have a higher M? Well, probably if these two sides have to be equal, whoever has the highest M probably has the highest nominal GDP, and it's Banton. So Banton has a higher money supply in year 2. Since the two countries have the same V and MV equals PQ, and Banton has a higher nominal GDP, then Banton must have a higher nominal money supply. Since their nominal GDP is higher, they must have a higher nominal money supply because those are they equal each other. And if this side is bigger, then this side's gonna be bigger. That's how that works.
Sure.
Who's saying sure? Scott, is that you? All right.
That was a lot of words.
Yeah, you were talking really fast. I was
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No. Okay, if I just said
No, just keep talking.
Banton has higher year 2 money supply because their nominal GDP is higher and nominal GDP equals money supply.
Yes. That's fine. That's exactly what I said.
Wait, what did you say, Sophia?
No, but you said it like a lot.
Wait, what'd you say?
Like that was a
Wait,
lot.
what did you say? Let me
Say it like really slowly though.
Okay,
for a word.
I ordered. Banton has higher year 2 money supply because their nominal GDP is higher. And nominal GDP equals money supply. Speaker of the House.
That was really good.
Good job. That was
It
amazing.
actually does, really?
Apparently,
That's money supply.
Oh,
That's
because
nominal
those-
GDP.
I
If
forgot.
this is bigger,
Chill,
this
chill.
must be bigger.
I picked that.
In my room, telling me to chill.
Do you not remember me and Connor last year?
Okay. All right, let's talk about the inflation rate. Is the inflation rate no?
No.
Yes. The inflation rate is no. New minus old over old times 100. Here's 2 years worth of deflators. Here's another 2 years worth of deflators. But hey, kids, since the original deflator is 100, it's subtraction. Because, I mean, it's no times 100. But if the old is 100, then that means we're like subtracting 100, dividing by 100 times it's subtraction. So this is 5% inflation for Banton, and it's 30% inflation for Mena. It's not always going to work that way, but only if you're coming from 100. Otherwise, you have to plug it in, and okay, because it's going to be 105 minus 100 divided by 100 times 100. That's going to cancel out subtraction.
130 minus
130 minus 100 divided by 100 times 100. Cancel out 30 minus 100. Yes. Did you say real GDP?
Sorry,
That's it.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm putting this.
All right. D. Based off your answer in part C. Remember, inflation was 5% here and 30% here. And it's saying, if nominal interest rates are the same for both countries in year 2, which economy is experiencing a higher real interest rate, and explain? Well, this is the Fisher equation again. Look how prominent the Fisher equation is in this, just in our practice today. So it's Banton. It's Banton because.
Wait, is this D?
Yeah, this is D. You want me to scroll down?
No, it's cool.
This is Banton because
scroll
since
down.
they have. Oh my.
Why would you not scroll down? Why would you not scroll down?
Because I had to erase all of it. Okay,
Listen to this.
I've missed you. So Banton has the higher real interest rate because they have lower inflation.
Is that always a correlation?
Well, it's the Fisher equation. Real is nominal minus inflation, and they have lower inflation, so they must have a bigger real.
Wait, Ms. Taylor, is that this thing where it's like you showed us like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and last but not least, assume that in year one, MENA is operating inside its PPF curve, and that MENA's production possibilities curve remains unchanged from year one to year two. Okay, so it's not shifting. As a result of the real GDP from year one to year two, does MENA's economy move closer or farther away from its PPF curve, and explain it using numbers for real GDP. So you have to solve for real GDP for MENA for both years. So if I scroll back up, Scott, I can do this. There it is. Here's MENA. I have to solve for real GDP for 1 year and then the next year. So year one, real GDP is 200 divided by the deflator, which is 100 times 100. So it looks like in year one, the real GDP is $200. The year two, same thing. You're going to do nominal divided by the deflator times 100. I already have the math for me. It's 300. Which means it looks like real GDP has actually grown. So in relation to our PPF curve, MENA's economy is going to move closer to its PPF curve since real GDP has increased. And then it asks, what happens to cyclical unemployment in the short run? Well, since real GDP has increased, cyclical unemployment is going to go down.
What'd you say?
Yeah, what's the answer?
There's less, right? There's less cyclical.
Okay.
Buddy. Said like
MENA's economy will move closer to the PPF curve. Let me put it on the screen. You want to put it on the screen?
Draw that.
Yes, Quirky. Ooh.
I know we'll move closer to PPF.
Okay. MENA's economy will move closer to its PPF curve since real GDP has increased from $200 to $300, and cyclical unemployment will go down. Alexei just said he forgot the PPF curve.
It's just the little. Like the little.
Don't say that. Okay, I'm headed out for the day.
I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget.
It's fine.
I'm gonna do good. We get like 3 or 4.
It would be doing well, not doing good.
What was it doing good?
Volunteering in a soup kitchen.
Soup kitchen. Did you do that once?
No, I've never done good. I've only done well.
I've been ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Next few of us. Okay, any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, or concerns?
No.
I have wow, I just had a splitting headache just now.
Really?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Economics.
No, too much something. Not economics though.
Yo, what?
I don't know.
Too much Scott. Yeah, that's not fair.